Welcome back, everyone, to another SandStorm meetup. Today, we are joined by free guests from Monstrocities. How are you doing?
Good, good. Happy to be here.
I appreciate you coming on today. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Usually, I like to start the show with a little bit of introduction for anyone out there watching the stream that might not know you or know about the Monstrocities. So if you want to give yourself a little bit of intro and then give a brief overview of the project, obviously we'll dive more into it throughout the show, but just a little brief overview.
Sure, yeah. So I'm Free Gas. I am part of the Monstrocities team, founder of Nifty Labs, the development crew that runs Monstrocities and helps other projects as well. Been in this space for quite some time, just to, not as much as others. To date myself, I started buying a hash mask in their main sale, and the rest is history. So that's where I come from. And the project Monstrocities, which is my first love and where this all began from a development and a building side, is just it's an idea that you can build a game with your community, right? And so what Monstrocities is a sandbox-based MMO that we are building with the community all the way through, right? So the IP is managed by the DAO, which is owned by Monster holders, right? That's the core concept, and it's what we're working towards. It's been an interesting almost year, not really quite there yet, but 8-9 months of building, and we're just getting started, as you all know, and as is clear, Sandbox is just coming out with more and more cool functionality and building towards Alpha 2. So we're getting really excited for the potential that's coming up.
Yeah, nice. And you said about 8 or 9 months. So when did you guys first mint?
Oh, that is a great question. We started minting back in late June. I actually don't even have the date on hand right now, but late June, early July of last year, we launched. It was a really exciting time. We pulled in, I believe, around 800 holders in that first day, people who just kind of saw the vision. And it's been, a build ever since, right? It wasn't one of those instant sellouts. Our mint is still open, but it was enough to really build a core community and start working towards what we wanted to do. Yeah. So it was an exciting time, and it was just the start of everything we've been up to.
Nice. And so how many have been minted to date? Because there's a total of 8,000 monsters, right?
That's right. There's a total of 8,000 monsters, and we currently have 2,755 out in the wild.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so I was reading on the website that that's 8,000 monsters in 4 different element-based civilizations. So they're going to be split up into groups of 2,000. What are the different elements that these civilizations are made up of?
Yeah, absolutely. So they do have names: Aquatica, Spiritus, Ignis, and Terra, but that very easily translates to water, air, earth, and fire, right? Yeah. So we use the elements to base the civilizations. There's 2,000 of each. In terms of how that relates back to the game that's being built, each civilization, right? So the name is Monstrocities, like cities, where we've got this lore where toxicity overtook the world. People were transformed into monsters. So it's this concept that the monsters were once human, right? And as humans do, they begin to kind of gravitate towards similar folks, right? So Aquatica built their own city, Ignis, Terra, etc. And so the map is kind of anchored by these 4 cities, which are managed and run by each civilization, and then there's interactions across and between them. But those are what the 4 cities are based on, and the 4 civilizations.
Nice. And you mentioned a DAO. So is it all a collective DAO, or does each element have like their own DAO?
So from the perspective of the DAO making game decisions and building decisions and all of those things, it is a collective, right? Yeah. As a community and as a whole, we will decide certain things and certain aspects of what we want to build. There will be well, yeah, there will be sort of community-based competition and community-based rewards and successes, but the overall DAO will help agree on those things. It's like there will be a challenge and the winner will receive, let's just say, this is a hypothetical, there's no game yet, right?
Yeah.
We still have but maybe the DAO votes that the monthly kind of civilization-based challenge will reward 1,000 sand. So as a collective, we agree to a reward, and then owners based on their civilizations may compete. So we work together as a whole to make decisions, and then we start competing and disagreeing and doing all that.
All right. And so, perfect that you mentioned sand, and you also said you're going to be an MMO based game in the Sandbox. You guys actually do have a extremely large plot of land, a 6x6 in the Sandbox. You want to talk a little bit about that, what went into getting that, and what you guys plan on doing with it?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, we launched a very long time ago. And so even though we haven't fully minted out and we haven't done, the traditional, let's get all of the money first and then figure out what we're going to do. We built enough of a community and sold enough monsters to very easily purchase a plot of that size at that time, which is lovely, right? Because now it's grown quite a bit in its valuation. But we saw that even though there wasn't that instant sellout kind of demand for what we were doing, whether it be based on our marketing or just the what Sandbox could be wasn't fully understood at the time. Who knows? But we still felt that the community was strong enough and that we had enough there to do what we wanted to do. So we went out, we worked with Sandbox to acquire their land and be part of one of their sales. And just get started on completing our vision, right? And working with the community to expand on that vision via the DAO. So that's what went into buying the 6x6. Is just this is what we're capable of doing at this stage and what we want to do. And it turned out to be a wonderful decision, both from a timing perspective, because if we tried to do that now, we'd be in a much different position, and just from a enablement perspective, because we really do have so much space to build anything and everything that we want to.
Yeah. And you guys are actually partnered up with the Land Vault. We had them on the show maybe a month ago or so, and they were showing us some of the builds that they've done for people. What are you guys planning on doing on this 6x6? What are you guys going to build on there?
Yeah. So, and we have partnered with the Land Vault to be part of their, their kiosk. I don't know if it's a 3x3 or whatever it is, to be part of like an external position as well with them. Yeah. But the 6x6, which is really going to be the game, right? And so, we're in construction now. We actually are about to break ground on the Water City. It was a little delayed, but we're really excited to be building that out with Arconics, which is the guys who built the avatars for us. And they're phenomenal, huge shout out. Big fan of Amadon and his team. They've been really helpful. But really what we're trying to build in the 6x6 is an immersive MMO. The more space that we have, the better, right? Because if, we want you to really feel like you're transitioning from, maybe you're in Water City and you're heading towards Earth or Air. We don't want you to, leave the water border and now you're in Air City, right? There's got to be terrain, landscape. You're really traversing a space. And of course, there will be methods to enable faster travel, because not everyone wants to walk across a full 6x6 every time they want to do something. Yeah. But for those that want to do the typical immersive MMO and really experience the world, it's the feel should be exiting Water City, crossing a river, climbing a mountain and entering the Fire City, right? Like it should really feel like that there's work involved in traversing a full land. And then of course there will be fast travel and all the other fun things that make technology way cooler than real life. Yeah. But yeah, the 6x6 should encompass the full world. And just like any other MMO, what we're really excited about is the scale of land, both above and below ground, and the ability to continue to add and include new things and kind of update the game with new caverns, quests, whatever we could think of. There's so much space to really continue to grow. So the 6x6 will enable that and make sure that we always have room to do new things and fun things over time.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 6x6 is large. I don't think I've been on any size of land like that because I've only played like the Alpha and the Alpha 2 where you can go to some different lands, but I don't think any of them are anywhere near as big as a 6x6. So you guys definitely will have a lot of room to build.
Yeah, it'll be fun, and I'm really looking forward to introducing some of our experiences. We'll see how we can, if and how we could maybe do that, ahead of even the actual multiplayer and everything being live. But
we're gonna do it on the show.
Yeah. whenever we get that opportunity to put people in there, we are going to do it.
Yeah. All right. Nice. And so, I like the 4 elements. And it sounds like, in this game, I mean, you're seeing in this little preview clip, they're arguing, but they're also like hanging out together. Like, is it going to be like these elements are pitted against each other in the game, or are you going to be able to like team up with other different elements to work together on things?
Yeah, it's a great question. The ideal is that you can make this game whatever you want it to be. And so there will be opportunities to compete against and compete with different monsters. In terms of mini games and experiences within the land, right? Like nobody will be excluded from maybe participating in like a city builder experience or something in the water city, but maybe folks from the water city have advantages because they can breathe underwater longer, or, whatever, right? Like different like concepts like that.
Yeah.
There will be competitions where depending on which civilization you're from, your score benefits that team, right? And so even if within game you're not actually like attacking each other and like PvP battling, your success is a detriment to someone from a different civilization, right? So we'll have competitions and challenges that will pit people against each other, even if in game they might work together to do a city builder or something else. And then again, Sandbox is always introducing new capability, and that means there's always different ways that we can introduce new things and new ways to actually enable a PvP where monsters are just killing each other and respawning and finding ways to gamify that. But the idea is that, if you're a pacifist and you just want to have fun with your friends and do social hubs and do that thing, this is a place for you too. There isn't one right way to do it.
Yeah. Nice. And I did also want to mention, I read on the roadmap that, the first 3,000 mints will receive a legendary gold sword. And so you guys haven't minted out up to 3,000. So are you guys still giving out the gold sword for?
Yeah. No one's received a sword yet, right? We're waiting to hit that 3,000 mark, and then we'll mint and distribute those swords. But that is one of the perks that we have out there, where we want the folks who believe in this game first and our earliest supporters to benefit by being a part of this journey. And the Sandbox is not available widely for play right now, and so investing in any kind of game that leverages the Sandbox is a bet on the future, right? And so, the sword is one way of saying thank you for making that kind of decision to join us for the ride.
All right. Well, you all heard it in chat. There's still the legendary gold sword is still available. They're still minting if you guys are wanting
a few more available.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. So, we talked about the DAO. I did want to kind of touch on that a little bit because I think I saw that there had already been 4 things that had really been voted on. What are those different things that you guys have been using to vote on?
Yeah, no, it's so the DAO is a method to make decisions as a community.
Yeah.
And so some of the early votes we did were really to test that functionality and have a little fun. And so we allowed folks to vote on. So one other perk of owning a monster is minting a familiar, which is just a creature to join you on your journeys. Mm-hmm. And there were votes on what those creatures ought to be. And so it was decided that Terra, that Earth, would have an elephant as their acquaintance. And then we had some other votes more around operations and management that we completed around funding and what to do. And those votes helped guide our direction. One of them was actually around the land and whether or not we needed to sell a piece to fund different pieces of our project. And we did get approval from the community to sell a 3x3. We are working through whether or not that's a necessity based on outside investment and help in that regard. But technically, the community made a choice to help do that, right? And so that's what the DAO can do as well, is make the tough choices around how to progress the project. It's really cool what people can do when they come together. The DAO right now is a useful tool and a fun way to make sure that what we decide to do is what we all decide to do. It is also a challenge, right? I think, ApeCoin is hot right now. Everyone's talking about it. And I think a lot of people are seeing the difficulties of widespread decision-making and making the right choice, right? And so with the number of folks that we have owning monsters, right? Hitting quorum and making decisions that most people agree with can sometimes be difficult. And so it's actually really a fun experience and exercise of just learning how best to run these things, what kind of decisions are best suited for public discourse, and what as a core building team should we just choose to do on our own. And it's something that we're figuring out and learning from the community and with the community as we go. But it is a decision-making tool that manages and decides how we build upon the IP and just the general atmosphere of the game, right? What it ought to be and what it will become.
Yeah. And have you guys had like a pretty good turnout as far as people voting?
Yeah, it's been, I'd say, sufficient, right? Obviously turnout, who doesn't want turnout to be in like the 80s, 90%, right? Yeah. But even voter turnout in our real lives is nowhere near that. So yeah. I think it's great to see participation. Whenever we have had a vote, there's a lot of chatter around why I'm voting this way, why I'm not voting that way. There is a lot of engagement by those folks who really do want to have a say and influence where this project goes. We'd always love to see more, right? I think everyone would. But it's great to see the folks that do engage with the DAO and with voting.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, if there's anyone in chat that has any questions, feel free to drop them below. Obviously, make sure you guys check out the Monstrocities on Twitter, join their Discord, and follow the SandStorm stream on Twitch. You said you've been around since like June or July. It's a long time, and it's good to see that you guys are still working on things, still putting things together. And I think, like you said, the sandbox isn't even like developed yet, and people aren't even understanding like what people are going to be able to do in the sandbox. And I think projects such as yours will definitely have their day when people explore the sandbox more.
Yeah. And, it's an interesting dynamic, right? How, NFTs as a community, a universe, how marketing, a product works, and how people get attention, make decisions about buying. Obviously we are not selling an investment. We are selling a game piece, and we want people to play our game. But a lot of people still see NFTs as an asset class and an investment. And there's just people approach the space in very different ways. And we're not ones to decide how that should influence anyone else's decisions or what else is out there. We're trying to build a game. We want people who want to play the game, and whatever it takes to get the word out and get people involved and engaged and collecting monsters. That's wonderful. But it certainly is an interesting space to have been in over the last year. And it's only going to get more interesting, right? Everyone on this stream and having these conversations are, early, right? It's tacky to say at this point we're all early, but we really are, right? This is just the beginning of on-chain gaming, of on-chain ownership, of everything that's being built in this space. And so it's no surprise that things sometimes take longer, and that the value proposition or the excitement around a project can sometimes take longer to really settle in, and that's fine.
Yeah. We're for sure in a interesting place in the market right now with some of the things I see people buying. The whole Kevin thing.
Yeah, Pixelmon is we don't need to go down that path, and I don't want to FUD other people's bags or do anything. But it's an interesting example of how marketing and hype can influence decision making more than history, builds, content, like all of that, right? Because there's a lack of substance there, but 70 million in funding versus other places, ours and others, right? We're not the only folks building what we believe to be awesome content in the Sandbox and in this voxel format. Yeah. So it's Kevin was a frustrating conversation for the guys to be having, but we're not here to judge people for what they go after or do. We're just here to build something interesting and fun. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of interesting things going on in the space, Kevin or otherwise.
Yeah, so I think I want to say Slater was showing the alpha game trailer earlier, and we were watching, and I did want to talk to you about the game. You said it's an MMO. As far as like game design and like concept and all that stuff, like, are you guys doing all that in house?
Yeah, so it's us from a conceptual side of things. Arconics are helping us building and gamifying. They've got a lot of experience in the space, and then there's also an opportunity for the community to influence with ideas, right? Maybe they don't necessarily have like the game development experience to know the best way to implement a specific kind of modification or quest or whatever, but they might have ideas that we can internalize, translate, and then put into the game. So level design, game design is a combination of our team and Arconics right now. I will say, like, as I mentioned earlier, there is an interest in making this a place for everybody, right? It's not just a PvP battler. It's not just one thing. There's going to be social hubs throughout, right? This might be the place where you just go to chat and like hang out and listen to music while you do your homework in real life or whatever, it might be a place where you are competing, leveling, completing challenges, earning, tokens, doing what you want to do, in this new world of on-chain gaming and play to earn, right? Like that could be it too. So we're building for everyone, and that will be demonstrated in space, level design, all of that sort of stuff. There is a goal of making it as passive and relaxed or as intense and competitive as folks want it to be.
Yeah. I like that. Like you said, you're kind of just building it for whatever level of intensity someone wants it to be. And
and there's a lot of land, right? We've got a lot of space to enable all of those things. It's not like we're squeezing all of this into a few plots. So
yeah. And I never really asked you about, I guess, the team. I mean, obviously, we're meeting you. How many people are on the team?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Our core team right now is 8 people strong, actually. And then we obviously work with the Arconics team as well. Our team has definitely changed a bit over the past, several months. When we originally launched, there was 5 of us. Folks left. We hired up, and we are who we are today. One of the things that we found over time is that one of our weakest points was marketing and tweet planning, all of the fun stuff that is honestly very important in this space, right? And so we made some hires and invited some folks to join our team that could help us in that regard and make sure that we are able to elevate our voice a bit more. That was one of the more strategic aspects of us, really trying to get people, to learn more about us. And that's where we really chose to grow the team.
Yeah. Yep. Of course, so social media definitely plays a big role. That and Discord, I understand Twitter. I mean, I hang out in Discord, but as far as like all the chats and all the different things within Discord, I have no idea what I'm doing. I feel like a boomer.
Yeah, I mean, Discord can be the Wild West. I can't remember when I did it, and it was a sad day when I had to turn off my DMs, right, because of all of
The
the awful
scams.
stuff, the scams, the
Yeah.
lies, just the trickery that goes on in there. And everyone thinks that they're too smart for it until you're really sleepy and you get a DM and you don't really see what's going on and it's game over. I actually funny story. I Just a quick aside, I did actually give up a Solana seed phrase to a DM once,
Uh,
um, just by mistake because it was a free mint, right? And it was a surprise mint back when people didn't realize how dangerous free surprise mints would be.
mm-hmm.
And I got a DM that I thought was the announcements channel saying the surprise mint had started, and there you go. Good
Yep.
thing it was like a mint wallet, so it was only like 5 SOL or so, but it was a very sad moment for me. Very frustrating. So
Yeah.
Discord is crazy. Anyone who's listening who doesn't have their DMs closed, totally close your DMs. Friends only. It's not hard to add a friend just to shoot a message. But we love Discord. It really does enable more direct communication and engagement, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
give and take with any kind of technology, and I think Discord overall really does provide a lot of benefits. We'd be in a much different place if every project was just using something like Twitter to communicate updates and engage with their community in this NFT space. A AAA game studio can do whatever the hell they want, right? They don't even have to communicate. They can just do whatever they want and people are still going to be fine.
Oh no, people aren't fine.
Yeah, sorry. That's totally true. People aren't fine, but they don't care that people aren't fine, and it doesn't change anything anyway.
I come from Call of Duty, and
yeah.
oof.
No, I totally understand that. But here, there's a bit of a more direct interaction that I think is really great, both for just in general and for the space that we're in, right? Especially, like I just said, this is the goal is to build this game with the community, get their input, really make decisions together. And having a forum that is real time like Discord really enables that.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love Discord. I like, just being able to talk with the team and have a direct line of communication with people that are, building the stuff that I'm investing in. So it is awesome.
Yeah.
I did want to move on to your guys' voxels. Now on the website, it said that you guys did a voxel relaunch.
Yes.
So immediately I see that and I want to know why the relaunch, what happened with the original voxels?
So good question. We actually weren't even originally voxels. So a year ago, we launched this collection as a PFP project, 2D. So you see them right there on the screen, those 2D artworks of the monsters, right? We felt that, obviously PFPs are the kind of core driver of the space back then and now, right? It's not the only asset class. It's not the only thing that's out there, but it really is a big part of identity. And since we were building a project that we wanted to be both a game and an identity, we thought that starting with the PFP and then providing voxels in time with Sandbox made a lot of sense. As the mint went on, we started to feel that it was almost distracting from who we wanted to be, what we were, and maybe even misled folks that didn't, take the time to read everything we've ever said into thinking there wasn't more to the project than a picture. Yeah. And the voxels were a better demonstration of what we were building towards, who we were, and what was going on. And so we then worked with Arconyx to complete all of the voxels sooner, right? Because the goal was to just have the voxels ready for use in Sandbox. We wanted to complete them and make the voxels what you were holding and what you were owning. And so the relaunch was really flipping from your 2D profile picture to a voxel avatar in your wallet. You can still, owners can still access their profile pictures via IPFS and download those and use them if they like the 2D look. But we changed the way we represent ourselves outwards and what you're really holding to be the voxel avatar that a lot of people were buying for in the first place.
Yeah.
So that's what that relaunch is really referencing, is that move from a 2D PFP to having the voxels sitting in your, wallets.
Okay. Yeah. And so So what happened to the original like 2D ones that were minted? Do people still own those?
So we did a flip of the existing tokens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the token does no longer shows the 2D artwork; it shows the voxel, but everyone can still access their 2D PFP
Yeah.
and leverage it as is. So we actually just maintained it in the same token. Um, Again, something that was run by the community. It was approved. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't do something like that without that kind of input. And I think overall the response has been almost like only positive. I think people are really excited to have these characters in their wallets and know what they're going to look like when they're playing the game,
Yeah.
and maybe decide to get a different monster as a result of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The PFPs, you can't really translate a 2D PFP directly into voxels. There's always got to be a couple changes, and the full body really changes as well. So
Mm-hmm.
in some ways, this is even a better depiction of who you are and who you're going to be when you are playing the monstrosities.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. And so I guess with that, my next question, do you guys have any plans on, I guess, doing any other collections? I know a lot of other projects, they have like the sub collection, and they'll have like a baby form of it, and then like a grandma form,
Sure. Yeah. So we do have every monstrosity comes with a mount,
Yeah.
which is free. So you can mint your monster, get your mount. It's just it's a perk of having it, right? Just like the monster, the mount can't be used for much outside of Sandbox, but it's something to own until the Sandbox comes. In terms of more collections, we might want to sell this one first, right? Sell out this one first.
Yeah.
Down the line, there absolutely needs to be something. If 8,000 monsters get minted, there's active participation in this game. The P2E is going as well as one would hope, right? The tokenomics are working, and there's just growing demand. There has to be a way to grow that customer base.
Yeah.
Now, would we be selling those things versus maybe introducing some interesting mechanic for holders to, multiply and create new monsters, or whatever that Gen 2 game character could be? That's something that we would probably put to a DAO vote of how do we want to implement for the future. But I think anyone developing a game, it knows that it's all about player base, and limiting your player base to 8,000 forever or less if people are holding multiple monsters is really not thinking about the future. So is there potential for there to be a Gen 2 baby monsters, something? Absolutely. Will it be coming soon? Not until 8,000 is too much, and not until the community decides the right way to implement such a mechanic. But the door is always open if this catches steam and there's more, more to come for the community.
Yeah. No, yeah, I like that. I like you're waiting on the community, because, it'd be easy for people. I see some of these projects, they're just churning them out. They're like, oh, we 75% sold out. We already have our babies out. And then like, they're just minting like a whole bunch of stuff. So, the fact that you would wait for the community to decide, that they want to do that, then I like that. That's smart.
Yeah. I mean, that's what, we try to be as upfront and honest as we can about what we're building and what we're doing, and there wouldn't be a real reason to provide new units or anything at this time. So I think that would be a show of bad faith, at least for our project, right? Every project's different, but for us to come out there and say, hey, like, if you really want to play, you're actually going to need a monster and a flower creature. So come mint these flower creatures. I think that would be pretty. I would not be happy as a monster holder if that happened. And so that would not be something I would do, right? This is at the core a community project, and that's how we make our decisions. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. So, kind of a little talked about the project. I like to kind of just go into more of the future, things that you might have on your mind or things that you guys have planned. Are there any more partnerships that you guys have discussed that maybe haven't been announced and maybe you can leak, or hopeful partnerships that you would like?
Yeah, so I've mentioned Arconics a couple times. They've been fantastic, and we've been actually deepening our relationship with them as we found new ways to work together, and we've really enjoyed that partnership to date. And what they're doing is really great. They're an agency, and they've got multiple clients, right? And they always have an eye for cross promotion and finding ways to get even their own clients to work together. And so that is a really interesting avenue that we've talked with them about and that we're continuing to look into. Outside of that, we're excited to be a part of the Sandbox ecosystem, right? And folks who are honestly building and trying to do something interesting in the Sandbox, we're always interested in speaking with them, finding ways to collaborate, finding ways to elevate both of our voices and do things together. I don't have really anything beyond the Arconics relationship to leak. I'll say that some of the stuff we're talking about with them is pretty badass. And, as we're learning about new functionality in Sandbox, we are applying that to what we want to do in real time and making sure that what we develop is using everything that the game maker and that the Sandbox engine has to offer. And that is, I guess our core partnership is Sandbox, right? And giving us, well, we bought the land, but giving us this land to build something, so amazing. So that's the core of who we're working with and building with now. But, the door is always open, right? Like collaboration is like the name of the game. And, everyone talks about an interoperable metaverse, and Sandbox enables that in their space, right? And so anyone else building in the Sandbox that wants to find ways to facilitate being in our universe and vice versa, we would love that. We've had talks about actually creating like an embassy in our land, and depending on some external challenges or things, right, a big question mark of how this would work, but that embassy provides some level of access to outside collections and people to really experience what Monstrocities have and enjoy our social hubs at the very least. And so that's an idea that we've been chewing on internally that has been really interesting to talk about and think through. But really, I guess the answer is figuring out, we're always happy to grow our partnerships and collaborations. And it's a matter of just having the right conversation and meeting the right folks.
Yeah. Awesome. You talked a lot about Sandbox. Are you guys all in Sandbox? Or you guys plan on exploring any other metaverses in the future?
From a game perspective, it's pretty tough to manage, especially since we have intentions of being play to earn, right? Mm-hmm. It's very tough to manage a game across these sort of boxed metaverses, right? And so our intention is for the game to be played in the Sandbox. That said, there is always opportunities to airdrop monster holders Decentraland merch, right? Like a Monstrocities hoodie, and enable repping your monster, whether through, a mask, merch, whatever, in these other metaverses, right? We're not going to say that nothing else matters besides Sandbox, just that we've chosen Sandbox as the location for our game.
Yeah.
And so, we will find ways to get our brand and this game and the Monstrocities name in all these other places through merch, through other things. But the gameplay itself will live in Sandbox.
Nice. Yeah. And I think just, every person that we bring on this show, we always talk about just when Sandbox finally releases and comes out, just you'll be able to see the different things you can do and things that maybe you didn't even think were possible. You'll be able to do and build upon that. And I'm excited. I wasn't much of like a Roblox player. I did play a decent amount of Minecraft, and I feel like this is kind of like Sandbox is kind of like a mixture of both. I definitely think all the mini games you'll be able to do, the different lands you'll be able to go to, the metaverses, the social hubs. Like, I think it's gonna be really cool.
I think it's great. And, it's funny, right? Minecraft is low res, like voxels are low res, right? It's not, a sexy new release of God of War or Elden Ring, but in some ways the voxel approach invites the imagination, right? When you're playing the game, you're kind of thinking a bit more about what it would look like, and you're kind of providing that overlay and giving it the Elden Ring look in your head, right?
Yeah.
And so, I think voxels are great for the imagination. I think they enable a lot of things as well, right? Because you can really pull together some really funky stuff that you don't need artists and hardcore game designers to make work and put together, right? It enables faster development and release, once the game is out, right? Right now, it doesn't really enable that. But I do think voxels are a phenomenal medium. And for those that are looking to enjoy themselves, employ their own creativity, and be in a world that is a bit more focused on what could be and faster iteration, development, introduction of new things, voxels are a great place to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
DCLs for these very sexy, custom-skinned AAA games take time, much more time than voxel releases should. Yeah, and money, right?
Yeah.
Voxels are a great place. And when we talk about community input, right, like the game jams that Sandbox does and all of that, that really wouldn't be possible as it is today if it wasn't for using voxels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't just throw something out there like, hey, build an experience and expect people to build experiences in other mediums. So I love the voxel approach. I think it's really great. And it, it's only low res if you are stuck on that, and that's all you can think about.
Yeah, no, I love it. I've always loved the fact that games like Minecraft and Roblox are popular because they are so simple, and it's not a bunch of crazy 3D renders where it's like, oh, it costs us, $50 million to make this game, where you have the Sandbox, you could literally have the lead game designer be a 12-year-old, and like people will be like, yeah, this guy makes like crazy games in the Sandbox, and he's 12 years old, or she, and yeah.
Yeah, at first it was like, you can't make money playing video games, and then Twitch streamers showed up and were like, you thought, right? And then it was like, well, why are you sitting in Minecraft just building nonsense? Which I know they were also making money Twitch streaming as well, but now it's like, oh, by the way, like people will hire you to build crazy stuff, for who knows how much money, and like technically being, whatever 12 to 20, whatever the core Minecraft age is these days, is a major qualification for being really good at this stuff. It really is a fascinating kind of shift, and a really change of focus of what's valuable, right? Mm-hmm. Like value creation is now stacking blocks on the internet. Like that is actually, people appreciate it. They'll pay for it. They want it. And that is a fascinating change, right? I'm sure that we'll find new ways to create value in the coming years as well, right? On top of that. It never really ends. There's always a new frontier.
Yep. I usually like to, ask the guests on the show, where do you see yourself, like goals in the future? Let's say like 6 months from now. What are some major goals that you guys have, and like where do you see the project 6 months from now?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I'd like to see is that we're minted out and we've got excited, rabid, large community ready to play the game. 6 months from now, it would be really cool if Sandbox was totally live and our game was playable. Yeah. Assuming that, we would be more than happy to have a very active game in 6 months, right? Not really our choice, but what we are planning to do over that time, right, is to continue to develop, refine, enhance the game, get the, as best we can, get experiences out there ahead of the full release, right? Whether it's through game jams or whatever, try to just get as many folks as we can experiencing what we're building, and growing the community, right? And then once we've reached that point, that's when the discussions about introducing a play to earn token and all of the really fun PDE stuff really gets started. There's no point for a PDE token for a game you can't play, but 6 months from now, that is a very important conversation to be having. And maybe even it's live by then. It really depends on the speed at which, Sandbox moves and that we move in terms of providing the infrastructure necessary for an effective and appropriate, PDE game design.
Yeah. Awesome. I mean, I think you guys are doing great things. Just looking at the trailers that we're playing on stream. You know, the builds look great, and obviously a 6x6 land. I just think that once Sandbox is out and people are exploring all the lands, like a 6x6 is going to be extremely valuable, and just you'll have people checking the game out. And you know, I hope the best for you guys. I hope you guys get that sellout. You know, maybe if you guys come on the show again, we can be celebrating you guys fully minting out and the launch of your guys' game.
Yeah, no, we can definitely keep you all updated. You know, a sellout would be great, but it's, you know, what would also be great is we're halfway there and we've got a really fun game to play, and people are loving it and talking about it. And frankly, you know, we're in the mindset of if you build it, they will come. And if they come earlier or later, that's fine. We're going to build it. That's what we want to do. And so whatever it takes to get there. Nice.
I love it. I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you for coming on. If there's anything that you felt like, you know, we didn't talk about that you would like to share, now would be the time.
You know, I think, you know, just since I'm up here and I know some of the team is listening and elsewhere, you know, shout out to them, right? It is not easy, right? Yeah. Building for a full year, the ups and downs of watching other projects, whatever our opinions of them are, mint out, whatever, do well, rug, all in between. Like, it's tough. And so shout out to the team and the community for believing in this, sticking with us, having fun, hanging out. And, you know, we're really excited to continue working on this. And, you know, it's, we think it'll come full circle. And so, yeah, just taking the time to thank everyone on our team, thank Arconics again, because, you know, they really have been hugely helpful as partners in moving things forward at a much faster pace than we otherwise would be able to. And, yeah, you know, we're really excited. Folks out there, you know, if this was interesting and you want to learn more about what we've got going on, you know, our Discord is open to anyone. You know, you don't need to own a monster to have a chat and hang out. So feel free to come through and ask questions. And yeah, we're going to build this together.
Awesome. Shout out to the team. Probably a lot of sleepless nights. I want to thank you for coming on today. I want to thank everyone for watching out in the chat. Make sure you guys do check out Monstrocities. Follow them on Twitter. Get in their Discord. Join the community. And make sure you guys are also in the SandStorm Discord. I hope you guys got your POAPs. And make sure you guys follow the stream. We will be live again tomorrow, I believe. I hope. I don't have the schedule, so I don't know. But we should be live again tomorrow. And yeah, thanks for coming on.
No, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having us and myself.
Awesome.